Yay!
Look at that.
Sorry we're late, everyone. We had some tech issues, but now everything is good as gold.
Yeah, I am just doing a hot little social media post to let all of our followers know that we are back in action. So kick
Awesome.
it off, Ren.
All right. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, so that means the garbage collectors are coming to take out the trash, but we won't throw you out.
Welcome to Your Trash Pals podcast, a podcast about comics, art, culture, and whatever little bits of trash we found while picking through the garbage bin. I'm Vannotes.
And I'm Ren.
So, Ren, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I was a little frazzled with the tech stuff not working, and then as right before we did our intro, it froze again for me, and I was like, "Oh my god, is this really happening?" But it didn't. Well, it did happen, but now it's fixed, and my mic is working, and your mic is working, and we're having a special guest today. So I'm honestly, all in all, I'm good. I'm solid.
Our beloved fans, two gay dads and no kids, are so excited to hear us right now. So excited to hear our wonderful voices.
So funny.
Would you say you're feeling like trash or treasure today?
Treasure. Absolute treasure. I'm also doing this thing where I'm trying to stop doing negative self-talk, where I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, instead of being like, oh, I'm dumb or oh, I'm an idiot, just being like allowing myself to make a mistake and not make a big deal out of it. So I'm on permanent treasure mode unless something happens or I forget.
Permanent treasure mode.
Permanent
It
treasure mode, locked in.
sounds like the Captain Toad treasure tracker level we were promised but never got.
Ugh. I need to finish that game. I really got into that game over the pandemic, I think, or right before the pandemic. It
there's
ate up way too much of my time.
there's like 5 levels. So
What? There's a bunch of levels.
I mean, there was like 5 levels when it came out initially, and then many more came out subsequently. But
So
at the
funny.
beginning, it felt like there was 5 levels to that game.
That's really
So
funny.
either that or we game in very different ways.
Maybe I'm just a really bad and I'm just replaying the levels without realizing it. I'm trying to remember. I feel like there were a bunch of levels, but it's been a really long time.
Yeah, I tend to game very intensely when I do
Yeah.
game. I'm like, I want all the coins. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna knock all these levels out. Which is maybe why I struggle with JRPGs, because there's no way to do that versus a Mario.
Yeah, I like JRPGs a lot. I'm much more of a slow gamer. It takes me a long time to finish a game. Uh because I just like to explore and just see what all my options are, see what all the hidden dialogues and secret dialogue trees and whatever. And also I'm I don't want to be mean to anyone, so I'll I'm a save scummer. I'll admit it. I'll replay certain sections if I'm like, oh, I said something mean to this NPC. I don't like how this could turn out. I've been playing Baldur's
Whoa.
Gate. Yeah, I've been playing Baldur's Gate. I've got hundreds of hours clocked in on that game. Uh, just way too many to be not that far into it.
I didn't know you were a Baldur's Gate person.
I
All
am.
you've been talking about is Minecraft.
It's
So I
true.
didn't know you were romancing.
I've taken it's embarrassing. I was playing Baldur's Gate really intensely. So much so that when I went to visit our special guest today, last month, we were just in her house and I had my dear friends near me and I was like, don't look at me, don't talk to me. I'm trying to romance this bear. I'm busy.
Like a
And
real bear?
no, like a
Or a
guy
gay
who turns
bear?
into a bear, a bisexual bear. It's
Or a
it's
twig that turns into a bear?
like a big guy who turns into a bear.
Oh, like a Bjorn from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I can show you a picture actually. His name is Nelson. He's 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 the object of my affection. I'm like
This
actively like if I'm actively getting embarrassed as I'm talking about it.
we had a whole script, but we've devolved into Baldur's Gate Bear Talk. This is what it's all about.
Here he is,
Oh,
man of my heart and my dreams.
this is not for me. This is not for me.
Really? Are you serious?
Mm-mm.
That's so
This
funny.
is this is non-twink Legolas. That's not what I'm here for.
Don't say that. He's not Legolas. I don't even
He's
okay. Well, before like I haven't even seen or read The Lord of the Rings, so you could be right. I just don't know. But he's a brunette.
it's like the twink to twunk like pipeline. Like definitely like Legolas like went to the gym, stopped like bleaching his hair, started like drinking a lot of protein shakes, got into lifting rather than cardio.
That's so funny. He's a big guy, and I'm like, wow, I wanna, you know, romance this character. I can't believe you're
I
saying this about the bear that I am choosing to marry.
It might be because one of my um greatest like disappointments with the
Mhm.
Lord of the Rings franchise was the development where my favorite character, Beorn
Mhm.
from The Hobbit, he's a werebear, right? Like,
Yeah.
and he's like, in my mind, he was like just this big, handsome, burly, like muscle bear type. And when he shows up on screen, he's like this raggedy, weird, tall dude who's like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but like not hot.
That's so
And it
funny.
wasn't any fault of the actors. It was definitely like a weird, just my mind not matching Peter
Mhm.
Jackson's desire to
Vision.
stymie my
You're so
yeah.
funny. I think also like you are a tall person. Like how tall are you?
Mhm. I'm 6'3".
Exactly. I'm 4'9", and the sight of this like super tall, big old guy, I'm like, he can open jars for me. He can reach the cabinets. He can do all these things that I can't do. Like where I live right now, I have to stand on my tiptoes to open the microwave. It is it is the hardest part of my morning.
How tall you are versus how tall you are in my head is so drastically different. Like
That's
it's
so funny.
fundamentally the like cognitive dissonance. And I've met you in person like several times, and you've like trundled along around me, and I don't think of you as
Trump.
being 4'9".
Yeah, it's because I have big hair and a big personality. It's my charisma. I'm just really charismatic. I have the charisma of a much taller person.
A much taller person who loves that Baldur's Gate. Like
I do.
how how is it true you can like romance a mind flayer?
Yes. And so I like a little bit of Baldur's Gate spoilers. I got into that romance. And I was gonna see it through sort of like the sexual aspect of it, but then like there's a cutscene that basically like outs you as like a mind flayer fucker to all your companions, and I'm like they can't know, like I hate that, don't do that to me. So I backed out of it. I save scummed. I just didn't save and didn't didn't make out with the mind flayer.
Wait, how did you find out about this cutscene? Like, did you experience it or did you
Yeah,
look on the wikis?
I experienced it. I try not to look after like a disastrous. I used to look up stuff about games all the time, but then when I was playing Fallout 4, I looked up something that I thought was like really innocuous, but it ended up spoiling the ending for me. And ever since then, games journalism, it might as well not exist to me. I don't know what's going on at all. I cannot read or look. Or and when Tears of the Kingdom was coming out, like when all the teasers for, I refused to watch them. I didn't want a single spoiled moment. And that's just how I live my life now.
I understand. There's certain things I don't want spoiled in this life. Like I just watched The Boy and the Heron, and I purposefully didn't like watch any of the trailers or do any of that. I went in as Hayao Miyazaki intended, without any media
Context.
brainwashing. Except I did download the soundtrack beforehand. I figured that was pretty innocuous.
Yeah.
So I did go in and I was like, oh, I know these songs a little bit.
You're not worried about like the song titles being a spoiler?
I looked at the song title anyway. They were all generic. Like it was like
okay.
I learned there was a great uncle in the story, and I was like, okay, like sure that could be a spoiler, but I doubt the existence of a great uncle is going to really ruin my enjoyment of the film.
Yeah. I get you. I get you. So going in blind, did you like it?
It is, and I'll try not to be very spoilery here. The biggest thing that came out of it for me is if you know like Hayao Miyazaki's life and you know that a good portion of the film is autobiographical. That I didn't realize until after I'd like watched it all, and then I made that connection because I've written academically about Hayao Miyazaki, and there was there's certain things that happen in the first 5 minutes where like I got caught up enough in the story I didn't really think about them. Like there's some major events in Miyazaki's life that happened to the main character, but once I got on the other side of it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so wild.
Yeah.
The other thing that really hit me is I've talked about this with a few people, is there's a lot of Mobius stuff in there.
Yes.
Like Jean Giraud Mobius, the big comic artist and visionary illustrator. But there's a lot of
Morbius.
Yeah. You know,
old Morbin time, old Morby.
Yeah, Morbius's Airtight Garage, the famous, influential Le Garage Hermétique, as the French say.
There you go.
But there was a bunch of cool, which not everyone knows, but Mobius and Hayao Miyazaki were really good friends. So much so that Mobius actually named his daughter after Nausicaa.
That's so
and
cute.
if you read the first, like, if you read Nausicaa and you've read Mobius's Arzak, which you can find on the internet, if you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, this dude was really like reading Mobius like really extensively. But they were really good friends. And if you know Miyazaki, he's a super morbid dude and talks about death all the time. And just seeing the influence of like his friend on like a contemporary work was really beautiful. So I would say The Boy and the Heron. I really want to watch it again in theaters. It was very beautiful. The animation was like, there's the most subtle movement in an animated film I think I've ever seen.
That sounds
like the
beautiful.
amount of just small movements, not like big splashy cool like crazy things, but like there's a scene where they're in like a little rickshaw or like bicycle carriage, and they're just going down the street, and I was like, my mind was blowing in all the like tiny individual movements that were happening at once that were being drawn by hand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then the like bopping and all that, it was awesome.
That sounds good. I wasn't sure if I was going to see it, but now hearing about like Mobius's influence and the little subtle animations, I feel like especially with people like Miyazaki, you don't hear so much about, you just hear like about how morbid he is. You don't really see him more like as like a person with friends, and like really you hear about like stuff with his son, but like extrapolating on his relationships, I feel like this is very interesting and it gives like a different light to me, I think.
Yeah. I think, and it's something I think about, like being someone who writes comics for children. He is a very morbid human. I think he's a very realistic human. But I think in all of it, there's a very strong feeling like he wants to prepare children for like a harsher reality, and realize he existed through like a harsh like reality in his childhood as well. So like, you know, one of the key events in his life is that his mother died at a very young age, and that's present throughout like the rest of his work. But he wants to prepare children for like a harsher world and like give them the hope to like navigate it.
That's honestly the preparing them for a harsher world and giving them the hope to navigate it. I really feel like that sums up his work really well.
Yeah.
Good job, Chase. I mean, Van. Gosh dang
That's
it.
me. My secret identity has been
Oh
blown
no.
for the second episode.
Every day I'm out here just like saying whatever I'm not supposed to be saying. So funny. Oh
It
my
is
gosh.
funny being an artist with a pseudonym that's
Yeah,
like vaguely a name, but also not a name.
I feel you. I used to go by Kathy all through college and high school, but it's also my mom's name. So in grad school, I switched to Ren. So it was just easier to understand. And then I dropped my last name for most of the stuff I work on now, uh, because I'm a little weirdo who is like, oh, I can't have my last name. Like, I don't want to, I want to stand on my own feet. I don't want like my family's accomplishments to like cloud people, even though I don't think anybody in comics knows anybody in my family. It's very different circles, but I'm scared. I want to be my own man.
You have some like beast mode people in your family, so it would make
Secretly.
sense that like, yeah, that I there's a certain level of wanting to stand apart from my family that's associated in my pseudonym too. So
Yeah.
I understand.
We're brothers in arms. We're the handshake emoji.
You know what I've been reading a ton of?
What?
I have been greatly enjoying the work of one Junji Ito.
Oh, you're so funny. You picked the perfect holiday time to get into Junji Ito.
Yes, as everyone knows, Junji Ito is a Christmas fave.
Honestly, talking about
Everyone.
like the opposite of Hayao Miyazaki, they often get compared as like diametric opposites of each other, just because Junji Ito
That's
is
so
like such like a
funny.
happy guy. Yeah.
Junji Ito is very much not a happy guy.
Well, when you
Or
look at
like,
his, yeah, if you look at his work, but if you look like at like a picture of him, he's just got like his cat. He's just like hanging out, living la vida loca.
I'm just messaging our guests, making sure that they have the access they need to the stream. But no, I think Junji, there's that Stephen King quote that's quoted too much by dudes you don't want to hear that quote from, about like how if he didn't write horror stories, he'd be like murdering people or whatever.
That's so funny. I've never heard that quote.
It's very common amongst like edgelords or whatever, but he's like, yeah, if I didn't write all these spooky stories,
That's so funny.
I'd be a murderer.
I guess I'm not edgy enough.
Well, enough Junji Ito talk. We have our special guest.
Hello.
We have Alex Graudins.
I get
Alex,
I guess, is the big question, because I know we had technical issues when we were testing.
We had so many technical issues.
So many.
They are hopefully. We'll go back and we'll find out that we've been like mumbling this entire episode.
Oh no, I had the Twitch stream up while you were chatting.
Whoa!
Waiting in the
wings.
We just lost our one viewer.
So funny.
No, there were at least 3 when I left.
Yo, let's fucking go.
Yo.
And I can hear myself, so we out here, we good.
That's
also,
so funny.
Hi, I'm Alex Graudins. You're gonna hear these two refer to me as Durs a lot because it's a college nickname and I can't escape it.
It's just such like you're just such like a little baby Durs, but we can call you Alex. We can do it. I can do it. I
don't care.
You know,
I'm an enigma. I just exist.
Ren loves the dead name.
Don't say that about me. I don't love to dead name. I just love to put my foot in my mouth. And by dead naming, he truly just means calling him his first name instead of his pseudonym. I'm not out here causing harm.
I am joking. Ren does just like to enter into a group of people who use their screen names too much and just call them all by their like IRL names.
I can't help it. It's hard.
But
sounds about right.
Alex interrupted me. I was gonna do our fabulous intro.
Sorry.
But I'll just say Alex Graudins is a fantastic cartoonist who has had several amazing books come out, including the excellent book Improve, which is a book all about improv that I do not like improv, but I really enjoy that book. So Improv, trash, improve, treasure. So
hey, we are on the trash podcast, so it just fits.
You should go out and purchase Improve wherever fine books are sold. But we're not here to talk about improv comedy.
Not today.
We're here to talk about scripted comedy, romance, action,
drama,
all those things.
You're being very generous right now.
With the franchise Disney's Descendants. Let me quick just pull what does a Wikipedia describe Disney's Descendants as?
So funny. I also have to say, Alex, I see the necklace you're wearing. I'm very aware of this.
I figured it was appropriate for today.
You're such a silly, absolute sillium billium.
My goofy ass Mal necklace that Van, I think you gave to me like once upon a time.
I did not.
Are you sure?
I absolutely did not give you that.
Maybe it was Martin.
It could be Martin. I'm like, I know I didn't do it.
For some reason, I thought it was you, because you used to send me pictures of Disney Descendants manga.
Oh, I'll do that anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Anytime.
This is how Wikipedia.org, Englishwikipedia.org, describes Disney's Descendants. Descendants is an American musical fantasy, action, or adventure comedy television film directed and choreographed by Kenny Ortega. The film stars Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Boo Boo Stewart, and Cameron Boyce as the teenage children of Maleficent, the Evil Queen, Jafar, and Cruella de Vil, respectively. The film follows these teenagers adjusting to life outside their island prison while on a mission to steal the fairy godmother's wand and free their parents from captivity. And then we have 2 more exciting films off after that, continuing to exploit the franchise. So, in your expert opinion, Alex, why should everyone dig through the trash to enjoy this piece of media?
I feel like Disney Descendants is a good watch if you want to end with a lot of questions. For example, Dopey's son is in it. Who had sex with Dopey? why does he have a son? Why is why is Jafar's son acting more like Aladdin? Is it like a weird like circle of irony type of thing? Is it like a self-fulfilling prophecy? Why did they cast Kristen Chenoweth as Maleficent? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love whenever, I think this is the third time that Kristen Chenoweth has played Dove Cameron's mom in.
That's so funny.
What?
I support. They're perfect together. I'm still a bit salty that Ariana Grande got Glinda in the Wicked movie instead of Dove Cameron, when I feel like they were clearly setting up like a legacy type of thing.
Her voice isn't high enough.
Excuse me.
Sorry, that was a very like rapid response. Like,
so funny.
But I have
like nope, no Dove Cameron stands in this house.
I have no like pull in the Dove Cameron race, but I'm just like, she seems chill. She's queer. She's great.
A wonderful perfume. A lovely perfume. It smells.
I mean, that's
so good.
Speaking of queer, the vibes of literally every villain kid in this movie give off incredibly gay. I love it. The fashion, the colors, they up the saturation even more in the third movie, which I'm in love with.
Yeah.
Because if you've seen High School Musical 2, it is like the blues in that are insane. Think of like maybe like a tiny step down from that, but I always complain about just how gray and boring movies are these days. And then finally something weird like Disney Descendants comes in with their like crazy costumes, everything Mal wears. I'm like, I wish I could wear that. I wish I could own that. That looks dope.
I'm glad you don't own it, girl. Please. Don't do it. Don't say that.
I never said I could pull it off. If I could, maybe.
No, it's
I'll just stick with the necklace.
Truly, even Dove Cameron can't pull it off. My biggest gripe with these kinds of Disney movies, like Descendants, or that one that I always get the zombies movies confused with Disney's Descendants.
I did force you to watch that movie.
You did, and
I think I also forced you to watch Descendants, but both are very strange in different ways.
Both are crimes to my brain, mind crimes. But I have so much beef with their costuming because it's like they're like, oh, what if we just put them in like Technicolor rags? And I'm like, is that it? Is that really it? Is that the span of our creativity here? Like, please, come on.
I was gonna say, I was actually gonna touch on the weird like in the third movie, spoilers, I guess if anyone's gonna watch this, we get to meet Hades, who's apparently Mal's dad. Again, raises the question, how did Maleficent and Hades get together? They never say.
So
okay.
Anyway,
this was a major
clothing,
thing.
He's dressed as like a biker man. He's like pre musical Beetlejuice in a sense.
He's rockabilly.
It makes no sense to the
rockabilly.
It is.
I haven't heard that in such a long time.
So many of the villain kids on the aisle dress in rags. They're just like, you heathens. We send you to the slums, the prisons. Like it is so strange. I could just talk about the aisle specifically for like an hour because
we have
the implications.
Glossed over the fact that one of the major components of this film franchise is that all the good guys live in this magical kingdom and they have exiled all the bad guys to a small island with no resources, which makes it a bizarre Disney exploration of apartheid states, which is very, very difficult, especially in the year of our Lord 2023. Our consciousness has been raised quite a bit about like global apartheid states outside the norms of Western thought or within the norms of Western thought. And to have a Disney film series for teens with lots of dancing and very poor social like understanding of deeper issues.
This definitely fits into like I feel like the latest decom genre of like fantasy racism with Disney, where they're like, we want to show that this bad But like with zombies, it's all about like, oh, like we don't want the zombies to be near us because they're gonna eat us, and it's all about microaggressions and stupid things like that. Not that stupid in the sense of like the way they go about it is like, I see what you're trying to go for, kiddos, but it's really a little bit insensitive.
It's just not working.
And it was very interesting watching because I rewatched the trilogy as well as the weird animated marriage special that came out during the COVID times. Like this past weekend to catch up. And I will say I did not do it on Disney Plus because boycotting that thing right now. I did it in other manners. But the third one came out in 2019, which was like right at the end of like the Trump presidency. And it was just like the ending is all about them literally like opening the gate, like letting basically being like no borders, yeah. So it was very much like I remember watching it at the time being like, this is like barely tongue-in-cheek. Like I feel like again it's the closest I think Disney Channel will get to being political, like in like a very like specific lens. But it was just very like jarring to watch it again because I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh wow, this is very on the nose. And watching it again, I completely forgot till I got to the end, and I was like, oh yeah, that was that time. So it's very strange how it ages, I guess.
Yeah, it makes me think
Kenny
about
Ortega.
the Disney 9/11 special.
Oh,
what?
After 9/11, after 9/11, Disney did all these like little vignette like videos with their most popular stars talking about 9/11.
Oh, the like commercial bumper ones.
Yeah, yes.
I thought you were talking like full episodes of things.
Oh no,
like,
not that
was
I can
also
think of.
very fast that they could do that.
Yeah, it was a crazy turnaround.
They don't really do that anymore.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, imagine in-character cameos talking about like the apartheid state of the villain Isle. I'm like, it's so weird. It's so like I kind of also feel like Disney with Descendants is trying to have its cake and eat it too, where they're like, oh, we're gonna have this like politically youthful and forward messaging of like open borders and whatever, but also like be like very conservative in the background. You know what I mean?
They're also keeping it very black and white in the sense of like the amount of times they say good and evil. It's like when Danganronpa. Wow, I butchered that. Danganronpa says hope and despair. It just loses all meaning by the time you are done with the series. It's just they're not explaining what it means to be good or what it means to be evil. I guess technically they do in the first one when they're like, evil means you want to steal candy from a baby, and good means I don't know if they actually explain it. They're like, return money that you find on the ground. Just like
in these very basic, like thought out, like very base level. It would have been so much more interesting and compelling if they like explored like, oh yeah, these people, because they kind of do. If I remember correctly, with Ben, who is the son of Beauty and the Beast, his ex-girlfriend before Mal, she was like one of the good guys. But then as it turns out, she wasn't so good after all.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they're like, we are actively going to make the children of our beloved iconic characters, and we're going to make them real pieces of shit. We're going to make them bratty.
Exactly!
And it's like, are you sure that's good for your brand? Is this what you really want? So
I think that is one of the major elements of Disney's Descendants is that like quality of just like, what would happen if we got to see these characters babies, and what if they grew up and they were teens, like that Monster High, After High, like that whole like and it really is like the one thing I just went to a production of like Into the Woods, which I love that musical. I love Sondheim. I know Into the Woods is like one of his most basic works, but it's also the most like relatable and fun. But the one thing about like Into the Woods is it makes sense that like all these grim fairy tales like that are embedded into each other within the collective like consciousness are all like existing simultaneously. With Disney's Descendants, you have not the real like fairy tale characters. You have the weird Disney versions all overlapping, and
also you
all
have
of
to
their
consider
kingdoms
they're all from
like
different
right on
time
top of each
periods,
other
too. And
Yeah.
also you have to assume all of the Disney characters had sex at the exact same time for everyone to
weird.
be in high school.
It's
when
so
they
weird.
are.
It reminds me of like a high school like RP where you have all these characters for such a long time and all these impossible like weird badly written things are happening, and then they have kids and then all the kids are doing the weird stuff. This highly specific relatable thing.
Oh no, I relate to that. I've done that. Maybe that's why I like Disney Descendants.
So
I like it in, the trash way, where you're like, you just need that little guilty pleasure.
Nothing's better than a little guilty pleasure.
Yeah. And I did realize, I think the only reason I really fell off it for a while is because the third one is just like it was really hard to watch more than once because it came out like right after Cameron Boyce had like passed away.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember. I think he had like a seizure at night.
Yeah,
once.
I believe so.
And it was just, it's such a, I don't want to say it's such a bummer because I don't want to be like, oh, I can't watch this movie anymore because this kid died.
But I mean, I get it.
You grow attached to him, and like, especially if you watched him on Disney Channel, like in Jessie and like all that, like you watched him grow up. And I think watching these movies again was really nice because like you can tell he's having a blast. Like this isn't just like a paycheck for him. Like he's during the dance scenes, he looks like the happiest out of everybody there. And I'm just like, oh, he's really having a good time. And they kind of do his character dirty a lot in the sense of like in the last two, they're like, we're gonna pair him with fairy godmother's daughter, and that's gonna be his thing. Also, the dog he gets. This is another thing I need to touch on. Carlos, it feels like he falls in love with the dog in the first movie,
remember that,
where he's like, "Mother, you can't. I think he's great. Dogs are wonderful, actually." And I'm just like, this boy is a furry. At first, I was like, he and Jay are just very like homoerotic in the way they're constantly wrestling.
They love,
but then the dog comes into the picture, and it's like, oh, okay, Carlos, what is happening here? And then in the second movie, they're like, oh, and now the dog's gonna talk, and he's Bobby Moynihan, and I'm like, you know what? Good for Bobby to get that Disney check again after DuckTales, but it's like fart jokes and stuff that you don't need. And again, with like the Disney always needing like the wacky animal sidekick, and it's like we were doing fine in the first movie without him. Sorry, I'm like yelling. This is how fast
I love it. Truly go off.
So like at least in the first movie, it's like okay, like he's fighting against like his mother constantly being the big thing for him and her is her always being like, avoid the dogs. Dogs are evil. Not like, oh, I'm going to be bad to my son. It's just like, don't trust dogs. Very strange. But like come like third movie, they're like, oh, he's really wants to be with Jane, the fairy godmother's daughter. And they're just like, like very adorable.
That's just his oomphy.
I do.
And I mean, me and my Arrow Ace ass, I'm like, I don't care. Whatever.
Let's get to the surrealness of Cruella de Vil. From like what time period is Cruella de Vil from? Like she's very much coded as this like this kind of like turn of the century like 1910s 20s character just hanging out like in the same world as like Beauty and the Beast
and
in
like
the same
Jafar.
time period as Mulan. Like yeah.
Disney Descendants, I definitely feel like falls into that same void as Once Upon a Time. Like, Ren, I know you and I watched that in college.
Do not even get me started on Once Upon a Time. I will not
a whole
shut
other
up about that loser orphan. I cannot stand her.
Well, the thing is, at least with Once Upon a Time, they have like the overarching thing of like, oh, it's a storybook like world, and everyone is in the same town because the fantasy world got mixed with reality for convoluted reasons. So that it's like at least tries to explain it. Disney Descendants, they're like, no, these are all our properties, and just, you know, don't think about it.
Don't think about it too hard.
Don't think about it too hard.
Especially when you think about this land of Oridon, how geographically close all of these little Disney worlds would have to be in order to all send their kids to the same prep school. Obviously, like in the real world, like rich people send their kids all over the world to like Switzerland or whatever.
Yes.
But the idea of like, I don't know, all these people from like very different geographic regions, like in our very real world, all coming together and speaking the same California English, like totally baffles my brain until they do an accent that's way going overboard.
Oi, governor! I'm just a spot of evil tea.
Where was McFreakin? We had Beauty and the Beast. Why was Ben not French?
Honestly, that would have been way, like, I think more fun, even if the accents would have been bad, but it just would be way more fun. And I get it. We're not the target audience. Like, yada, yada,
yada.
I'm
always put that in your pocket. Audience. What are you talking about?
So funny. Just put in your pocket.
I'm decoms till I die, baby.
You're such a funny
but I'm glad we brought up Ben, and I'm glad we brought up the geography of Oridon, because I have a lot of questions on that too. I completely forgot when first of all, first movie, we open up on what looks like, you know, like the storytelling book of like, oh, we're going to open the book and tell you a tale. It opens and it's an iPad, because now we also have modern technology in this world. That's not what I'm getting at, but
what?
This is how it starts. And while they're doing this, while they're like showing us on the iPad what this world is, the narration from Dove Cameron talks about the United States of Oridon. It's not just one world.
Oh.
It is McFreakin USA. But there is a king. It is a kingdom. You cannot be the United States. But also be a kingdom with a prince. And not only with a prince, but the king and queen, Belle and the Beast, are still alive. And they're still like, we're going to make the prince king now. We're going to have his coronation. His first thing to do is he wants to bring the kids from the Isle over. With like, no explanation. I feel like we could have had a really cool backstory with Ben where like he had this fascination with them, but it's just like, it's just wrong. It's wrong for them to be over there. And I also want to emphasize, this is like a 16-year-old boy about to become king. Not only that, we lost Van.
Looks like we lost.
We had a little streaming glitch.
But I was yelling too much.
I'll just... if anyone needs an academic read about some of the topics that we're discussing, that's really good. Christian J. Warner is a really good academic on the topic of plastic representation, which is this very like post-Obama era, like, whereas like the Clinton administration, like, and the rise of multiculturalism in the 90s had this like very much like we are the world energy. Like post like the Obama administration, there's this very like strong idea of like colorblind casting to the point that it like erases culture and that it erases like ethnic identities. Like, and this is like,
no, you finish your note first.
Yeah, the like colorblind casting could be a very like valuable like thing in like certain performances, and like breaks down certain barriers for like a lot of performers. But there's also the very like strange racial politics of like how Disney loves to colorblind cast, especially to like virtue signal or like do what it does.
I'm sorry to interrupt. My dog is freaking out. I don't know if you can hear him. He's been, giving his input, and his input is, I've decided, even though we went out and did our business, I have to go do it again right now. So I'll be right back.
Is it okay if we still talk? Do you want? Okay. The screen is gone.
We'll just hide Ren's screen. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Ren can step away.
I was gonna elaborate on that because I'm glad you brought it up, because one of the things that's so weird to me in this movie is that Aubrey, the daughter of Sleeping Beauty, her grandma is there at one point, and she's like the mom, the queen, who's like also under the sleep spell along with the whole kingdom. And she is Black, and Aubrey is biracial, I think. And it's just very weird come third movie where they are like, I don't trust these Isle kids, these others. It's just very like, again, the fantasy racism is always very strange when it's clearly like an oppressed group being the oppressor for like this like very generic group of people. I think it's something you see in things like Detroit Become Human a lot, where like there will be more marginalized folks who are against the robots. And it's also with, they even do it in Disney Zombies, which is like, I get it, but the colorblind casting really makes it like less believable in the sense of like, I feel like they would have more of like not a reason to like trust them, but like they would be coming from like a similar perspective. And that's not to say like marginalized groups are always on the same page with one another. But it's just very weird seeing them put in the oppressor like perspective. Hello.
Hey, I'm back.
Welcome back. But yeah, so on the one hand, it's like cool that you're branching out like the depiction of these like iconic characters, but in like instances like that, it's like maybe don't have her be the character that's being like, I don't trust these people outside the border. It's very weird, very strange.
Yeah. And like to just say her name one more time, Christian J. Warner is a very excellent academic, and is often talked about the interesting dynamics of criticizing progressive like tactics, and progressive in air quotes because they're being utilized by these giant corporations that then try to turn the argument on actual like organizers and activists when they like call this stuff out. Just, and I think I think she called out the Black Panther movie on something and people really didn't like that. But she is a very intelligent woman with very good theory.
Nice. We should ask her to talk Disney Descendants.
Honestly, what are her Disney Descendants thoughts?
Please,
can we have?
I would love to know. I would love for someone to break Disney Descendants down from an academic perspective. I am 100% there. But it's just, yeah, it's bizarre. And also,
it's our treasured trash.
On that same note of like the legacy characters, so many of the kids introduce themselves as like, I'm so and so's kid, and it's like, can you imagine going to school and being like, hi, I'm Adrian's daughter.
So
you know, Adrian.
Oh yeah, Adrian.
You know, my mom.
I will say, as someone who grew up in a small town, that is something you do very frequently.
The United States of Oregon, where there's kingdom.
I'm like, I'm so confused
also,
about this.
Beauty and the Beast, why do they get to be the top kingdom?
Yeah, I'm like, what is it? Because they're scared that Beast is gonna Hulk out and like kill them otherwise? Like, is he like this weapon? These are the questions that linger in my mind and in my heart.
Also, to go back to the this is a 16-year-old boy, I assume we are making king. There is a line in his song when this is also a thing we need to touch on, where Mal basically like magics him into loving her, like essentially drugging him through a cookie spell. But anyway, he sings a song on the game field post game where he's like, I love you, Mal. My love for you is ridiculous. There is a line where he says, I would give my kingdom for just one kiss. I want to be the person in this world who's like running the conspiracy theory podcast where I'm like, if he would give his kingdom for just one kiss, can we really trust him as our ruler? This boy would get a
give it
smooch
to
and sell us to the enemy. It's
exactly.
Like, and also he just says this out loud to all these people. It's like, you are about to become king. This is not good.
That's so funny. I love how up in arms you are. I've
ready.
Been
thinking about this all weekend. It is just one of the reasons I got really into the series is because I watched the first one and it was so insane that like my sister came home to visit like maybe like a week later, even like days after. And I explained the entire movie to her, like for 20 minutes straight, yelling just about like scene by scene. Because I was just like, it's so ridiculous. Like, I don't mean to get so hyped up about it, but it's just so bizarre. I don't know.
No, I mean, you're right. Like, truly, if we're thinking from like a socioeconomic standpoint, putting this 16-year-old who is like, we know that Mal's mother has negative and evil intentions, and he is like going to give his kingdom to Mal for a little smoocheroonie, and she's going to give it to her mom because she loves her mom. Like, and also think about like the little evil Islander kids. They all just want their parents to be free. Like, think about that.
And
like,
to love them. That's the
yes.
One of the reasons they do what they do is because they're like, I just want them to love me for
they just
once.
want a hug. They want their parents to be parents to them.
There is the scene when they are making the cookies where Lonnie. Also, Mulan's daughter's name is Lonnie. I'm sorry. Can you get any like?
It's lazy. It's lazy.
Exactly. But she's like, you gotta add chocolate chips to the cookies. And they're like, what's that? And they're like, she's like, didn't your mom, when you were sad, didn't she ever just like make you chocolate chip cookies? And like to have a little treat, just like a little thing because she loves you. And they're like, I can't relate. And she thinks it's so sad that she cries. Honestly, the batter, which is an ingredient they needed for the spell. And I'm just like, it's just so strange to be like the thing that nails down their villain parents is they did not bake you chocolate chip cookies. So and it's funny. Like, wow, that's so sad. Oh my god.
I think one of the like best things about a piece of trash is like at a certain brain level, like if you turn off the brain a little bit, it goes down smooth. But as soon as like you're higher, like more evolved than like a fish brain like comes on board, like what do they call that, post-Cambrian brain? I don't know. I'm not
something like that.
But like once that like comes online, it's like, oh, this does not go down smooth. This is not the like Four Loko, like
the Four Loko. So funny.
This yeah, it is like a Four Loko where like the more you turn off your brain and the more like less engaged you get, the smoother it goes down.
Yeah.
I think I'm just always amazed, like, how did these movies get made without like
truly?
Did no one bring up these concerns?
Also, like
maybe that's the storyteller in me.
True. I definitely could see that being it. Like, I think because our duties and our job are so like to craft stories in like meaningful ways and in ways that we enjoy and think that can reach others, is so much better than like something that is mass produced, that is just supposed to make money. But sorry, circling back, like far back, I just thought about like all the villains and their various villainous deeds. And like Cruella de Vil, yeah, okay, she's a villain. She just wanted to kill a bunch of dogs. But like she's on the same level as like Jafar, who like wanted to mind control people and like just and
Become a
basically
god.
everybody else is like, I want to become king or god. And then Cruella de Vil is like, I want to make a bunch of dogs into coats. Like
it also raises the questions of like, so many of those villains die at the end of their movies.
Yeah,
like,
what the truth?
Does it just, is this an alternate universe type of thing?
Is it a multiverse theory thing? That is
maybe
what I'm thinking.
It also, you also have to like envision like, when did they have these kids? Like for some of these villains who are older than others, it's like when did they meet their person and procreate and this child was made?
You see, Alex, when a mommy loves a daddy, they lay an egg and it just stays in spaces.
They lay a Mickey Mouse shaped egg.
Exactly. It's a pain. So
imagine that coming out your ass.
Okay, here's a little game. Are you two familiar with the works of Kenny Ortega, director of
I know he did High School Musical. Did he also do Newsies?
Okay, so Kenny Ortega did not start in like traditional like directorial roles. Kenny Ortega started as a choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
And was the choreographer for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Dirty Dancing.
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah, very accomplished. St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, like accomplished choreography credits. Directed, here we go. Let's see. Newsies, Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
okay.
The High School Musical series, including number 3. Also, the Cheetah Girls was starting with the Cheetah. It was the Cheetah Girls 2. Was a director on several episodes of the Gilmore Girls.
Interesting.
And
I hate that show. I do. I don't like the way they talk.
Choreographer for many Michael Jackson world tours, which I don't talk about Michael Jackson. That's a hard role for me. The Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus Best of Both Worlds tour.
I saw that tour when I was in high school / middle school. I need to emphasize.
What did you think of the choreography?
I loved it. I was there primarily for the Jonas Brothers, but it was I had a blast. It was a great time. I don't remember anything about the dancing, but I remember being like, wow. So he must have done a good job.
That's so funny.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks for making my childhood.
And I think this is a very important credit. The Rocky Horror Picture Show Let's Do the Time Warp Again TV special.
That's so funny, huh?
One of the biggest queer train wrecks. Like in my opinion, one of the worst like queer media train wrecks in television history was under his guidance. And
Kenny, no.
But also like a property that was like sugar coated and like buffed out every wrinkle. Like that's what one of the major issues was with that like readaptation of Rocky Horror. And then to know that like that smoothing like filter, like knowing that that's a specific filter, the like smooth choreography, the like turn your brain off story components, like all those things, that was just applied like all over this franchise.
Yeah.
And it made them tons of money. Like their goal was to make a ton of money, and they got a ton of money out of it.
Yeah.
So good job.
Almost somebody's money. They got, there's this very necklace.
I didn't buy this. I need to emphasize this was a gift.
Okay. I believe you.
But I mean, hey, Kenny Ortega was the one who invented doing this again. Which everybody I know knows. So you know what? It's a win. It's a win
So
for
funny.
Mr. Ortega. Not
You
you.
don't know the-
You're gonna learn it. I'm
the
gonna make you learn
choreography?
it, man.
Oh
I don't
my
know
goodness.
the choreography at all.
All you need to know is da-na-na-na, da-na-na.
I don't
It's
need to know.
elbows,
Might be-
elbows, clap, elbows, elbows. I don't care about the rest. That's all you need. It's important.
That's so funny.
High School Musical should be
That's so funny.
an entire different episode. I'm chock full of trash, fellas.
We'll have to have you back.
There's
We
also
are
so much
definitely
like yeah. There's so much I could still say about Descendants. I don't know what our time limit is.
Add to the notes that we need to do an entire episode about the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's do the time warp again. TV, television, film.
So funny.
And by your notes, I mean I'm adding it to my notes.
So funny. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's so funny. I think like I've only seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show once, and it was like at one of those events at a movie theater where they like make fun of you and stuff. But I didn't know it was going to be like that, and I was just like, were you there for that? I can't remember. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you were.
I know you did it as part of an RA event in college.
Yeah, I went and everybody was dressed all sexy, and I was like, I'm just a little guy. I'm a little guy.
It's very funny to have you go with like no inkling of like what.
Yeah, I had. No idea.
To be fair,
like, it's a movie.
I only went to my first Rocky Horror thing when I went to BCAF in October this year. Van organized a whole group of us to go, which was really fun. It was like it was at a gay bar, right?
Super fun. Yeah, it was at the balcony here in Boise. And I took a little contingent from Boise Comic Arts Festival. The cartoonists that had come into town. I organized a little contingent to take them over and showed them the beautiful, amazing local drag Boise has to offer.
It was wonderful. I really did enjoy it.
I was at AMC Theater.
I was gonna say I had talked to my sister beforehand because she's gone to those because she was like really into Rocky Horror, like end of high school, early college, and she was like, if they ask if you're a virgin, don't say anything because apparently there's like a whole thing with it. Yeah, like there's just so many things associated with, which is also funny because I remember when we went in Boise, like they gave you a list of like, when this happens, do this. And I felt like I was like unprepared for a test. I was like, oh, next time we have to do this. Oh, get the bubbles. Get the freaking bubbles. It's just very chaotic. I felt like it was one of those nightmares where you're in school for a test and you're like, I didn't study.
It's so funny. I definitely felt that.
But in like a fun way.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that there's a continuum of like Rocky Horror people who like are on one end and they can like recite like the entire, like there's a callback for almost every line of the film, and then you get just people who come in and they're like, what's this movie about?
Right. I went like it truly, I remember being so like, how did I never hear of this movie at all ever before like surprised. 2014 or something like that?
My favorite fact to share is the guy who plays Riff Raff, who I think also wrote the musical, voices the dad on Phineas and Ferb. And that is the funniest thing to me.
The connection.
That dad, he's so like, he's like, I like to do this. He's very he's very laid back and like boring man. And meanwhile, you look at Riff Raff and he's like, I'm from the space planet. It's just the like complete end of the spectrum.
The dichotomy of man.
Like, this range. And I'm like, I love this dude. I want to be both of these people.
My one, closing thoughts on Disney's Descendants. The biggest unanswered question I have is, what has happened to all the animal sidekicks?
Oh no!
Because they are gone. Like there's a few that like pop up, but like Ariel, where's Flounder? Like,
yeah,
where's
you would
Sebastian?
think there'd be more like singing birds or something in Oregon, or like little critters. Like they mention them, but they don't show them, which is.
I mean, like these. Really I guess the only animal I would expect to still be alive would be that little monkey from Aladdin and also the parrot from Aladdin. Because
only Aladdin animals.
Only Aladdin, because
Pascal, my little Rapunzel friend. Love that
parrots
guy.
live forever. They live like a super long time, and so do monkeys.
That's terrifying.
The other thing
Mm-hmm.
is that within like that continuum, there is a continuum in Disney of animal to human entities. And we never encounter the part animal people. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you're right. Oh,
Yeah.
ooh, we got something
Like-
in chat.
I mean, to be fair, in the third movie, and they build this up like in each movie, like you think he's gonna go beast, but he doesn't yet. But Ben finally has like a beast form briefly in the third
What does he
movie.
look
And
like?
it's
Does he
supposed
look
to be
like a
like
dog?
magic, like Aubrey being evil. That's a whole other plot we did not talk about, which is bizarre. But he does go beast mode, and I'm just like, this is what we've been waiting for, SpongeBob voice.
This is what we want.
But it's very funny in the fact that the two movies before that, where they kind of like hint at it, he doesn't transform, but there's so many moments of him just going "Rah!" But no CGI, no nothing. So it's just this dude like ah,
Just hulking out. He just sounds like
so
a
funny
huge
to
pump
me.
from the gym.
He's got not even anger issues. He'd just be yelling. And we didn't even
Guys be
talk about
yelling.
Uma. We didn't talk about Captain Hook's son, who is like
Oh, don't even get me
very
started on Uma. That's the only thing I
Love her.
even 2%
Her
remember
song,
from
What's
Disney
Your Name?
Descendants.
I will listen to outside the soundtrack. It goes
That
off.
song does go
Also,
hard.
one of the best lines in it, coming from Harry Hook, which also hate that his name is Harry, so strange, is, you know what they say, bad guys have all the fun. Never learned how to count because I'm number one.
That's
That is
so
the
funny.
funniest line to me, and it's like, you tell him, boy. It's so stupid, but also like genius.
Honestly, get him.
There's a whole, like I said, I could write essays upon essays about Disney Descendants, and we're only talking about the movies. We didn't talk about the one like animated marriage special. We didn't talk about
Wait, who
Wicked
gets
World,
married in
which
the
is, like,
marriage
CGI.
special?
It's Mal and Ben. Which is also strange because they get together in the first movie, and then all the movies after that, it's very like building up to like, we're gonna get married, and it's like, y'all are children. You shouldn't have to be dealing with this.
They need to.
If you weren't at Oridon Prep, maybe like we could let it slide, but it's just very strange that they have this pressure on them.
It should be Oridon University, then
yeah,
Oridon Graduate School.
But yeah, there's also like there's
Oridon
manga.
postdoc.
Postdoc.
I have to say I'm mad jealous because Kat Fajardo, I'm sorry if I said that last name wrong, Kat. But they got to illustrate the graphic novel version of the Isle of the Lost book, and I am so jealous. I wish
so
that were me. Disney, hire me to draw your DComs that I will absolutely shit on, but with passion and love. So
funny.
there's so much more Descendants stuff. It could be a whole deep dive, but the movies are the starting point. First movie at least.
You gotta watch it. It's honestly Criterion Cinema.
Yes,
it really it's up there. It just like as truly like Jer said, as much as we passionately shell on it, it is such a fun watch when you turn your brain off.
And I think yelling about it is a fun part.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Alex said it. Van.
You know, that does remind me though, there was a time we were watching the first movie. I think when I first showed it to you, Ren, there's a part where like Prince Chad Charming, who is Cinderella and Prince Charming's son, they're playing like croquet. It's like this big like pre-coronation like lawn day,
just like in Heathers.
Yeah, exactly. But like somebody, I think like Mal or somebody kicks him or something, and later he's like using a croquet mallet as like a cane, and I remember like noticing that and being like, that's a choice. But so the more you watch it, the more you see these weird little tidbits that either make sense or don't, or are just fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love yelling at the TV. I love being like, what are you doing? Why? Oh, this makes no sense. That's the fun part for me. So. And
You
also
love
it's colorful,
making your
like I
friends
said.
watching and yelling.
Yes, I love to torture my friends with these children movies.
It's so fun. It keeps us youthful. It keeps us looking like babies.
So, Alex, final judgment. Do you consider Disney's Descendants trash or treasure?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like the way I talk about it, it should be trash, but I treasure it. I feel like there's people I've talked to about it before, in the sense of like, it's just like, it's when you're like united on that what the hell is going on like type of like vibe. That's when it just makes for a fun viewing experience. So I think it's a treasure. Your faces are making it sound like it. You do not agree.
No, I agree. I think it's, it's like you're at a flea market and you find a box and it smells all musty and weird, but then you open it and then there's like a mint condition like Pokemon Game Boy Advance cartridge, and you're like, oh my god, if I didn't open this stinky box, I wouldn't have found this cartridge. And so it's like totally like it's good. You have to like wade through the trash of it. You have to wade through Mal like poisoning a man to love her to get.
Oh yeah, we did not talk about the cookie drugging like enough, but
no, yeah,
the whole thing.
And you have to get through all of the ugly outfits and stuff to get to that delicious center of just unbelievable nonsense. I meshed together like two metaphors.
That metaphor.
That didn't make any sense, but I appreciate the enthusiasm.
You know, the gooey center of a Game Boy cartridge.
The gooey center of the flea market find. Always
Exactly.
good thing.
My pronouncement is that is absolute trash. It is everything I hate in giant corporate media. The regurgitation of culture to the extent that it could be used to market not to the original audience, but the great grandchildren of the original audience, in the way that it's a cultural mythology, is absolutely disgusting to me. But have I watched all of those films at least twice, sometimes thrice? Yes. The answer is yes.
It's a good answer.
I have an end question, but I want Ren to do the trash or treasure first.
Oh, I did my trash or treasure. I think I said
you had the very long-winded metaphor.
Yeah, my metaphor.
It was the goop in the Game Boy cartridge.
Yeah, exactly. The goopy Game Boy.
My end question for y'all is if you could be in Disney Descendants, whose child would you want to be?
Yo.
Who's villain? Good person? Animal sidekick? I don't know.
For sure.
And you can pair like two random folks. I mean, like Maleficent and Hades got together, so.
Ooh, okay. Van, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
You go.
Okay. So it would definitely be the lady villain from the daughter of the lady villain from Atlantis. And
yeah. Oh, of
she's
course.
Hot.
Of course.
She's so hot.
Why didn't we even bring Atlantis or anything like that into the mix? We've been focusing on the prince and the princesses.
Honestly. But this is where it gets tricky. And then Hercules. So I'm like, oh, am I good or am I bad? Am I good or am I bad? I just don't know.
How bad can I be?
Exactly.
Movie.
Wow. I would be the collective adopted child of every Disney gay couple that doesn't get any lines or is incidentally in the background. They're giant Katamari ball size polycule of just all these incidental queer characters who are like the non-binary blob from Elemental and the gays with the dog from that one saccharine short.
Isn't there like a gay police officer in Onward also? Like
yeah. All of just the polycule of queers, Disney queers, all at once. Just their adopted like twink that they found on the street. Back when
I am the adopted son of just like lists off so many people.
Everyone's like, who the hell is that?
I've never heard of them. Which begs the question: who are the other children at Auradon?
Oh, they're the kids or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, how do we know if they're good or bad?
I change it. I also maybe I'm Gaston's kid. Maybe.
Gaston has a kid in the second movie. His name is Gil. He's with the pirates. I don't know why.
I take it back.
No sense. You can
as long as I get
his sibling.
I'm happy. No.
You want to be Gaston's partner.
I don't want to be his partner. Oh my god, no way. House and superiority.
You're the mother
only.
of one of the kids.
So funny. Alex, you missed it. We talked about Baldur's Gate 3 earlier.
I was here. I was lurking.
Oh, you were looking. Oh, so you saw
Mind
me
flying.
show Van Halson, love of my life, light of my life, heart of my heart, bear of my cave, or whatever. And I got totally rejected. But Gaston is like the poor man's Halson. I love Halson.
So you're Halson's
the Wonder Bread Halson.
Yeah. I was gonna say Halson's kid. No, you want a romance Halson. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't want to be his kid.
I'm crossing my wires here.
Oh no. Alex crossed her wires and disappeared into the ether.
Oh, good.
So,
off to Auradon. Sorry.
That's so funny.
You never told us who you'd be the child of.
Oh, that's a good question. Here's the thing, Van. Once upon a time, I drew this. I said Rapunzel and Flynn's kid. Then they'd be artsy. But also that also feels like a cop out because I was like, I want to do the drawing. I don't know. I'm going through like my Rolodex of like villains and heroes and all that. I think I might just. The thing is, the villain kids make you want to be bad. You make you want to be cool. But I think I would just end up being like, hi, I'm just a good old kid at Auradon. I just want to draw and not cause trouble.
That's fine. Hey, that's a worthy life goal to draw and not cause trouble. Even though you admitted crime earlier, you crime doer.
Evil.
Is it a crime if I'm
just
not
doing
supporting
graffiti?
An evil corporation?
Yes.
We
By
know
the
you got
definition
the
of the law.
Blu-rays.
Oh yeah, the Blu-rays. I forgot about that.
You went to Best Buy
Blu-ray.
and you already had the Blu-rays.
Yeah, the Blu-rays.
I thought you said the blue race. I was like, Navi? Avatar?
No, so funny, both.
They're at Auradon. They are owned by Disney now.
Exactly.
Oh.
Oh god, can you imagine if Descendants came out like around the time that Disney was buying all that IP?
Do you know what I just thought? Descendants Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Is that just
Marvel.
what? Exactly.
Star Wars.
Okay,
Yep.
we should wrap it up. I'm sorry. I gotta stop saying things.
I'm
Oh.
I also
boy.
just want to show the audience that I took like copious notes while rewatching this weekend of what I wanted to
If we were a podcast that had show notes, we would post them in the show notes.
Yeah. The first thing I looked down and I said, "Ben down bad from the start," and if
So
that
funny.
ain't the truth,
Oh, Ben. Down catastrophic.
Alex, is
But,
there anything you'd like to promote besides your your love of Disney IP?
I don't really have anything new to promote. You can always find me at Toony Balloony. That's TOONYBALLOONY on most social media, the Twitter, whatever it's called now, the Instagram. I'm on the Blue Sky, the Tumblr. Hear me yell more about DComs and other trash. Just into the void, not into a podcast. just yelling. And if you have thoughts on those also, hit me up, because I love talking that, because these two will not talk with me about them. They just roast it immediately.
I'll talk with you. You play Minecraft and I will talk to you.
I'm not gonna play Minecraft.
Well,
Then
here we are.
Minecraft. I've watched you play Minecraft.
Yeah.
I've never heard Blue Sky said out loud, and in my brain it's always been Blue Ski.
Honestly, it's Blue Ski.
B-Sky. I'm on bsky.app these days.
Bsky.app. And my dear Durs Alex, is this correct? At Toony Balloony the ticker?
That's the one.
Yay!
I gotta do the
Yeah.
click the link above to watch another video.
It's not a link, but you can
click the closest I'm ever gonna be to doing like a YouTube video end card.
So
click
funny.
the link below. There's another video to watch. Like and subscribe.
What's up, guys? Welcome to.
What's up, everybody?
So funny.
I should have done that at the beginning when I entered. Too late.
I would have disconnected you immediately.
Yeah, we have the option
After
to
all
kick
the advertising I did for this.
I know. You've been a real one.
Bye.
You're a real one.
Thank
you
you
did
for
more than
having
me.
me on this. I had a blast. I'm very happy I got to yell. I'm very happy I got to hang with my buds.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, Trash Pals. You can follow the podcast on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. Threads is a work in progress, mostly because every time I go on there, I'm barraged with so many bad opinions. I don't know how to navigate it. Our Facebook is all linked up. So, and after Ren edits this episode, this is the first one that's worked properly. We'll have a better idea of our podcast and YouTube video uploading scheduling, so we can let you know when to consistently tune in.
Yeah. You can follow me at ren.psd on Instagram and Vannotes on Instagram at Vannotes. And you can also find his graphic novel. Oops, sorry. My teleprompter went away.
Little peek behind the curtain.
A little behind the curtain. It's just been technical stuff all day, but you can buy Instagram at Vannotes Books. You can buy Vannotes' latest books from Scholastic, Piggy official graphic novel. And why is this freaking out? Sorry, my Streamlabs is like, hey, now that we're ending, we're just not gonna work right now. Anyway, but go ahead.
I'll also make an exclusive announcement that there will be an upcoming electronic zine called Seasonal Produce coming out monthly starting in January. It's so secret. Ren and Alex didn't even know it was coming along, but we could talk about that some other time. What's most important is shouting on our unofficial advertisers. These are companies that have not paid us any money in order to support them, but we believe in them so much, much like the Payette County landfill, that we want to make sure that they get some support. So we would like to know that we are not brought to you by DeviantArt. DeviantArt is your place to post and view high-quality images of femboys, furries, Five Nights at Freddy's fan art, which crosses over those two camps. When you post on DeviantArt, you're not only supporting a mom-and-pop gallery website, you're supporting the proud and the brave devoted to keeping the original spirit of the internet alive. Use discount code YourTrashPals. You can just put that in the comments of whatever paragraph you're putting underneath your nice little pictures, and you probably won't get any incentive for doing so, but you'll know in your heart you're supporting your trash pals. And as always, remember to reduce, reuse and recycle.
Yay! Thanks for coming, everybody. Good night.